But what we're actually here to discuss is this guy. So yeah, it's not that clear. Did you guys see that? Yeah. There we. Oh, Dino, you finally got it. Okay, okay. Dino's taken the longest to get it. Maria has it, and Ronald has an ebook. Oh yes, she's got the PDF version. Denise, you're without a book.
I know. I'm going to order it because I was waiting for the Audible, but because I'm terrible for reading books. You should see the stack of books I have that I'd never have to open. But because it's you, I'm going to order it.
Yeah, you're going to have to put up with it because just listening to what it takes and understanding what it takes to do an audiobook, booking a studio and then doing the recording is a mission. It's either you book a studio or you hide in the cupboard because you need no sound and no echoes and all the rest of it. And I'm like, you know what? I don't, and I've got a house that is quite loud. So to find that space and to be able to do it, although I may end up doing it, or I may just get Ronald to record it at the end, you know. But a lot of people said they'd like to hear my voice, so it'll be good.
Yeah, yeah.
Penny, welcome, Penny.
Hello, hi. Nice to see you.
I can say your first name, but I can't say your second name. That's why I just said Penny.
No one can.
Where is that from?
I'm from Greece. I'm friend of Maria and Sergio.
Okay, nice, okay, that's cool.
Actually,
like, I don't know.
You introduced us. Look, we're in a triangle. So you used to work with Sergio when I met him. Yeah, wow. That's Penny. That's my friend.
Okay. Hello, Maria. Maria's our resident Zen coach.
Yeah.
And musician. And not musician. Oh, well, you are a musician as well, but musicologist, is that what we call you now? What do we call you?
Rishad, everything that is about music, I've done it. There is no more. I don't know. I'm everything. Yeah, musicologist is okay. It's the first degree. But I have a lot. Yeah, musicologist is okay. Okay,
cool. Well, welcome, guys. We'll get started, and when people join us, then they can join us. So what I wanted to talk about was, I mentioned in the group about inspiration. And I'd like to start with that, and then we're going to read a little bit from the book. What I'm going to do is read some of the quotes rather than read line by line, because you're going to get the book and you can read line by line. So first of all, inspiration. You know, sometimes you feel inspired to do something, to take action, and other times you feel, I don't feel inspired. What is behind inspiration? And what makes us feel inspired? If you had to use a personal experience, not psychological understanding, like if you had to evaluate when it is that you felt motivated and inspired, and when it is that you didn't, are there some factors that are common in what you've perceived as to inspiration and where it arises from? Any thoughts on that? What makes us inspired and what makes us lack inspiration? Ronald?
I think sometimes when you actually see something and you feel a need and you believe that you can fulfill it, and then one thing leads to another, and then it just explodes. And that's
so you're talking of the outside, you're talking about the outside stimulus then inspiring you. So you're inspired by something from the outside that then spurs you on to do something else. Is that correct?
Yes, the outside to the inside.
Now, there would be other times when you saw something and you resonated with it, but yet it didn't inspire you, or it inspired you but didn't inspire you to take action. So you were inspired by, a man recovering from a serious illness, and that's great. What I'm talking about more is the inspiration to do something that is creative bound from your own being. What ignites that inspiration to say, I want to do this, I can do that? What causes that in you? Because of course there's the external, but there's something inside of you as well that ignites that.
Something greater than both of us.
Mm-hmm.
Who's both of us?
Well, from what I see around us and something I see within, it's almost like the hand of God moves you.
Sure, you can look at it that way too.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Any ideas? Yes, Maria?
In Greek, inspiration means the breath of God. So it's like having this moment, like what Ronald said, this divine recognition of something. But I think for me to be inspired, I have to have this positivity that I can do it. So it has to be linked with a purpose or with the enjoyment, with joy, to be inspiring. So it's something that you recognize from outside in, but it's something that is already in you. So you just yeah, and but then you need more to be inspired. You need positive attitude. You need that's why we go to the sea, we go to nature, just to this I think the vibes, or this positive energy. That's why they say nature inspires, but I think it's inside us.
Yeah, so that's very useful. You struck upon something there when you're feeling positive. So remember, I'm talking about inspiration to do something within yourself, inspiration to change an old pattern, inspiration to write a book in my case, inspiration to make a change, inspiration to change something within you, grow in some way. So it's all very much related to me in the world. Me and my abilities come into the equation here. Me and my potential, me and my self-worth, you could say, by extension, is that can I do it? Is a question that many of us feel is not related. However, it's very related. So I want to do this, but then what makes us lack what we call inspiration is that self-belief. So inspiration, it's faith, yeah. But faith on the one hand would come later. But there is this first thing is that I want to do it. The next question is, can I do it? And of course, if I can do it, then it's also a wild guess because it's not been done yet. So between can I do it and is it done, that's faith, right? Faith is taking a chance into the unknown. That okay, can I continue not knowing if I can or not? So when you say can I do it, it's the question is entirely ambiguous, right? Because if you answer yes, you could be wrong. If you answer no, you could be wrong, right? You can see the flaw in the reasoning where it starts off at, right? So of course, if we say yes, we can do it, or no, we can't, what else drives us if it's not to do with our abilities? What else inspires us to make that change? Now, let me give you some ideas and clues over it. Sometimes it's pain that's the motivator. Many people don't realize this. Pain and discomfort for where we are is one of the greatest motivators. It in fact is our survival instinct. Yeah. So on the one side, we say we want to be inspired. So we go out there looking for nature and looking for nice things to inspire us, which can demotivate us. A lot of people don't recognize the pleasure in pain, the incredible ability of pain to ignite and be a catalyst of change. So pain is one. Now how does pain relate to inspiration? They seem entirely unrelated, and I think that is very much related to the book as well. The theme of the book is for new people that joined us on the call. Let me see who else has joined us. Alana and Angung, welcome. And Alana, welcome. I can't see you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Alana, where are you? I can't see Alana. Oh, she's there, but the video is off. Okay. Angung, welcome.
Hi, Rishad.
Oh,
Hi,
there
everyone.
you are. Hello, Alana. How are you?
Okay. Hi. Good. How is everybody?
We're good.
Good to see all of you. So good to see all of you. Yes.
Nice to have you with us. We missed you.
You mentioned pain.
It's great to be here.
Ronald?
You mentioned pain. You think about how many diseases are cured and whatever when somebody recognizes pain, like maybe in their family, someone has died or whatever, and then they want to alleviate pain in the world. Is there something like, I feel it, now I want to help to eliminate it?
Right. So we can tell inspiration is definitely integrated to a need. right? You wouldn't be
Yes.
inspired to change anything unless there was a need to change what is. So
Mhm.
inspiration is a result of pain. Or now using the word pain, we're not talking about physical pain. It's a sense of discomfort, it's a sense of lack of growth. Anytime we want to make some changes because I want to get fitter, I want to get healthier, I want to get richer, I want to be happier, I want a better relationship, I want to get closer to God, right? All of that is revealing on the opposite side of that a great discomfort that is within us that we want to overcome. And a lot of us think, well, if I go and listen to some happy music or be around inspiring people, I will get inspired. And that's where you fall short, right? Because these people are going to make you feel good. Making you feel good is a demotivator,
Right.
because when you feel good, you don't need to change.
Mhm.
So what most people do is, like me as a coach, you call me up and I'll tell you, take your finger out of your butt and get started, right? And people are like, I don't like you, coach, right? Because you're supposed to be nice to me. No, if you want nice, then you phone up your best friend and your best friend will say, but you've done so much in your life and don't give yourself a hard time. And you're also so good. Let's go watch a movie. And then you say to your friend, thank you so much. I was feeling so horrible about myself. Thank you for helping me. So you see the momentary pause of the pain that you felt. It's not a good motivator. So, very much related to the Buddhist teachings and to the Zen teachings and to all ancient teachings that sit with your discomfort. That is that's beautiful, taking it back to Rumi. Rumi says the cure to your pain is in the pain.
Mhm.
Your cure to the pain is not avoidance of the pain.
Yeah.
So that's it's a very upside down way, which I think is the right side up, and I think that'll be a good entry point into discussing a little bit of the book, right? So as an overview of the book is that for me, my journey has been precisely that, seeing everything from one particular perspective. My life, my goals, other people, love, joy, happiness, all that kind of stuff. And I don't think I haven't even had the clarity or the presence or the patience to go and explore the other side that I was hiding away from unconsciously, right? So I know about pleasure, and I know that we're here to seek more pleasure. We're here to get more success and get more joy and more fulfillment. And those are all great things. But then are we not sort of like, clouding ourselves from seeing this other side of reality? And I think that's been the most profound reason for me going on this journey of self-discovery for myself, is to see the yin and yang and the opposites in each particular scenario and environment. So then I describe in the book, is he a bad guy or is he a good guy? And in your mind, you've already formed opinions, right? He's a good guy. But what was that good guy shaped on? Right. For instance, motivation is good, and we look at all these posts about how to get motivated. How many posts talk about sitting with pain and actually feeling more discomfort? None of them do. Right? They don't want you to go down that track because it's too difficult. It's too complicated. The easy way is just to get happy chemicals, right? And dopamine. So, what are your thoughts so far, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Denise?
Yeah, it's right on the money. I found that when I would get painful in my body, my nervous system I felt like I was like out of my body. And the only way I could seem to bring my body back, I'd start drumming. I don't know if any of you guys tried drumming. Have you ever done drumming?
Fantastic.
And it's really helped me to really get into me. And when I felt it within my body, and I literally could feel everything come back into me, and then I could make a decision. Well, when I was floating out there and trying this and trying that, and I did a lot of stuff just to see what it was like. And
so how do you relate that to staying with your pain, the drumming?
Because when I was out of my body, I couldn't make proper decisions. And then the minute I did the drumming, it brought me back into my body, and I could see and feel the pain to understand what I needed to change.
Okay. But you didn't sit with the pain.
Oh, I did for a while. just to
So,
figure
so
it.
what motivated you to take on the drumming is because the pain wouldn't go away. So that was your inspiration to take on the drumming.
Correct. Yeah. I was try
Okay.
to find a way.
Right. Okay. That's good. That's useful.
Because then
And
how,
so,
because how
yeah.
long do you want to sit in the pain too? You got to make a decision.
Well, yeah, that's something interesting to explore as well. But we'll come to that. But that's a good indication of. It's almost like lighting a fire under you, right? And that fire was burnt out of pain and discomfort, not out of comfort. Now, Western society is based on, and human conditioning is based on. If you look at everything that is attractive these days, self help and all the rest of it, how to get more money, how to get healthier, how to get more famous, how to get this, all for the purposes of seeking more pleasure, right? Because that's the mind. It's like, okay, if I have more money, I'll get more pleasure, because when I had some money, then I bought myself, 2 popcorns. And if I got more money, when I go to the movies, I can take 20 bags of popcorn with me, as a rough example, right? So our brain's wired to that. So if I'm feeling unhealthy right now, if I get back to health, then I can get more of that. It's a bit of a deception that goes on. There is this critical factor. If you didn't have the lack of commodity, you would never be driven to get more of commodity. Now, there's another trap where you go, well, then I shouldn't want commodity at all. It's all just a bunch of bullshit. That's the third level. And it's very important, because the mind is very polarized. So if I say to you, pain is good, you'll say, well, then I refuse to seek any pleasure in my life anymore. Or if I say both pain and pleasure are bad or good, you'll say, well, I won't participate in that anymore, and I'll just live in, outside of the realm of it. But you can't, because you have a brain and a mind that is polarized. So getting to know that is what's really important. Does that make sense, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Anything you'd like to say? Then we'll take up the book and get through a little bit of it.
Going
So-
back to,
Yeah, go ahead, Ronald.
you were talking earlier about how you were looking back at your pictures when you were younger and so forth. I feel that now that I've taken away my job and all these other activities and whatever, I feel like I'm returning to my younger self, and the world appears differently now. So I'll just mention that right there.
Thank you, Ronald. Yeah, no, that's an important point. That's a post that I did that says time is amazing in revealing to us what really matters, right? So we go through the different phases of what matters to me now, like where you are at this point in your life is like, I want love, I want happiness, I want money. And then you get through that. Some of us get some of it and some of us don't. That's what I discuss in the book, the journey that we all undertake, right? And then we arrive at a particular point, and then we say, well, is this it? And then it's the journey back, right? So that's the whole thing. Again, because I think the most important thing that I wanted people to get out of the book was that both sides are equally correct and both sides are equally incorrect. And the only way to arrive at the truth is to seek for something deeper within you that has the answer that you want. Now, I call that the heart, but you can call it many types of things, but it arises from intuition, from the heart, from a gut feeling, from something that is deeper within you, that is not based on logic. And I speak in the book about the 2 types of logic, right? And I talk about Nagarjuna and Aristotle in the book. So, if you have anything to say, just put your hand up and shout. Otherwise, I'm going to look at page 84 in the book. So if you don't have it, well, if you do, yeah, great. If you don't, perfectly fine as well. I'll read it out. So I say in this about our senses are limited. Our senses are limited talks about how our senses can deceive us, right? Because there's so much more being out there in the universe that our senses can't perceive. We heard of sixth sense, we heard of extrasensory perceptions, we heard of intuition, we heard of telepathy, all these types of things. And of course, modern day material science likes to debunk all of them. Yet you know that you have a feeling that somebody's not well, and then you get a call about them, or you think of a friend and they call you, or you're speaking to a loved one and they say, I was just thinking that, right? And if it's random, then you can call it just by chance. But after a while, if you'd actually tune into this randomness, you start developing this intuitive sense again. And so my world has been about getting in touch with that intuitive sense. So in the quote, I say, we must remember that we do not observe nature as it actually exists, but nature exposed to our methods of perception. The theories determine what we can or cannot observe. Reality is an illusion, albeit a persistent one. So that's Albert Einstein, right? Which I managed to find some quotes of Albert Einstein that many people don't really know about, and I think that's really, really important. Now, having said that, if you look at it from a polarized perspective or from a one-sided perspective, you'd think, oh, what's the point then even researching this kind of stuff? Because it's all just an illusion. Yet Einstein is known as one of the greatest physicists of our time, which means that he didn't take that knowledge and then take it in another direction. And that's where we have to be careful of our judgments on how we read into things and how our biases distort what we're supposed to do or not do with the information presented. That's really, really important for you to get. Does that make sense? Right? So your wife, for instance, I'll use the husband example because there's more women on the call. Your husband says, you know what, I think I'm tired of eating steak every night, right? and you say, so you don't like me anymore, right? You can make that assumption, right? Which would be entirely incorrect. Yet, in many ways, he could be talking the truth, or he could be talking absolute rubbish. And that's where you have to learn, and that's what I teach the coaches over and over again. Be careful how you use the words that people say and make a judgment about what you think they're talking about, because you have no idea. You've got to pause. And so that's the biggest thing that I want people to understand is that pause, stop, watch your biases, watch your judgments, watch how you see things. It's not what they are. And that's the senses as well. Because remember, the sense perception, if you hear a sound and you say, oh, well, that's an ice cream. I don't even know if in your places they have the ice cream truck going by and making that sound. And growing up, we used to have that. We still hear that sometimes, right? How many people have that in your country still? It'd be interesting just with their hands, okay? Not that many, okay. But that's a wonderful sound. And that was the sound of happiness. Right, Pavlov's dog. I don't know if you heard of the Pavlov's dog experiment, right? And the dog salivating, right? And we can begin to form those type of relations, right, in our mind, and they're basically called associations. So we hear the sound of that immediately. We're thinking happy thoughts. Hey, that's the sound of joy coming, right? Which can be very biased as well, right? So we have to watch how we see the world and especially how we see ourselves. You have an impression of what you are that is 30% of what people actually perceive you to be. This is scientific analysis. So they talk about looks. You think that you're 30% as good looking at what people think that you are, right? I'm not really concerned about looks, anyone here in the group, but that's an interesting thing. So you look in the mirror going, like my daughter yesterday said to me, do I look good in this dress? And I said, who cares? I mean, how can I say with a conclusive answer, they were going to a gala, that every single girl there, this girl's thing, is going to like how you look? Of course, for a teenager, she's like, Dad is off rambling about shit that's irrelevant again, but I just want to know how I look. He just can't answer the damn question. People don't want the long answer. They want to say, you look great, you look superb. They don't ask, why the hell does it matter? So that's funny, by the way. You can laugh now. Oh, Ronald, sorry, Ronald. Do you know? Dino's not amused, or is he amused? Do you know you have to leave, right?
No, actually, I screwed up with the time. I told you with the watch. So,
but the next one too.
I still have some time available.
Okay, yeah. Good. Okay. Yes, Ronald.
Okay, somebody would say, I like you better without my beard. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll shave it off. And will you like me better? My beard determines how you like me or accept me. That is not my beard. I mean, I'm not even who you actually see. I'm far deeper than that. So why should my beard determine how you like me?
Well, this is precisely it. That's beautiful. You put up your hand again, or is that all you needed to say, Ronald? So
I'm done.
Ram,
Thank you.
yes, about that. What's really interesting, other than how people want you to change based on certain things, there's another level, how you know yourself. And I can tell you what, the internal chatter about what you are and what you're not is, if you investigate that correctly, you'll find that the construction in your mind about what you are and what you believe and what's true and what you like and what you dislike, you're quite a hypocrite within, not in a bad way. But if you have the time to investigate the hypocrite within, it's not a bad thing. It's not a judgment thing. Be careful. I'm not saying you're all a bunch of hypocrites. Nothing like that at all. Hypocritical in the sense of, hold on, I think I actually don't know myself. When it comes to the things that we like about ourselves, we're quite sure about them. But the things that we don't like about ourselves, most of the time we're wrong about them. You can say, I think I'm a horrible human being. And then you call up your friend and say, you know what, I think I'm a horrible human being. If you have a decent friend who knows you pretty well, they're going to say, I think you're talking a bunch of crap. You're just making stuff up. Because we do have a very strong negative bias about ourselves. So rather than, Ronald, on the one hand about the person with the beard, judging you based on your beard or liking you or not, how do you like yourself with the beard? Right? And why do you like yourself with the beard?
It's something different. I'm having fun. It's something I don't need to actually concentrate on.
No, the question was the question. The question didn't require an answer. But okay, that's fine. I know at your stage of your life, I don't think you give a crap what people like about your beard or don't like about your beard. However, that's an important point. Now, I'm going to page 130, which finishes off on the on a very big section. That's the section where I talk about your brain and your biases and your judgments and all the rest of it. And it's a beautiful quote from the Sufis, and very much the book is related to love and to Sufism as well. The chemistry of mind is different from the chemistry of love. The mind is careful, suspicious. He advances little by little. He advises, be careful, protect yourself. Whereas love says, let yourself go. The mind is strong, never falls down, while love hurts itself, falls into ruins. But isn't it in ruins that mostly we find treasures? A broken heart hides so many treasures. So again, the pain avoidance and the pleasure seeking, right? So the brain is saying pain avoidance. Do not go into the pain because that's going to cause you discomfort. We're here to seek pleasure. But the brain is deluding you, because what you realize is that your inspiration arose from your pain. And the pain was when you took a chance on love. I was reflecting on these lines. There's a quote that came up on my screen feed and says, take a chance on love. And I thought to myself, why do we need to take a chance of love if we are love? Why do we need to take a chance and love if all we think we are is love? So if we're thinking, do take a chance on love, what we think we are is that we're not love. What we think we are is that there's no love in this world. That's why we have to take a chance and love. What does it mean, take a chance and love? It means I will trust, I will have faith, I will surrender, I will accept the inevitable outcome. That's what love is, right? You go into a relationship with someone not knowing all the facts, because you never can know all the facts, and you're going on a hunch, you're going on a feeling. Yes, Dino.
Yeah, I just wanted to say this is very interesting, and I link it to the common narrative that we need to get out of our comfort zone. But if we are aware that pain, or let's say the discomfort, is what is the growing in process, why do we need to imply that our comfort zone is not the one where there is discomfort? So, like you say, if I am love, why do I need to take a chance? Because I don't believe I am love. That's why I need to take a chance. I think it as a separate object. I am the subject that is separate from the object I'm thinking about. But if I am love, There's nothing I really need to do. I just need to relax with who I am, and I am love. The same with the comfort zone, stepping out of the comfort zone. It's right if you are unconscious, because if you are aware human being, you know that discomfort is part of the growing process. So whilst you don't like it, you don't want to go out of it, because you know that this is your growing.
Yes.
So that would be our comfort zone, is to be in discomfort. So why some people, or the common narrative is that to think that we all want to feel safe, we don't want to. Yeah, some people do, but some other people know the comfort zone is to be in discomfort, because they know that this is growing.
Yes, yeah, I totally. And I think the big point is what you mentioned is if you are conscious and aware. And once you have conscious and aware, and the book is basically taking you through the two realms, right? So you've got the one realm of me and my mind and me and this world, which is a reality. I need to get a cup of coffee. I can say I am coffee, or I can get off my ass and go and boil a cup of coffee using that piece, the post that you did today about you going to get the coffee, right? Because if you say, well, I need some coffee. Well, you can sit on your ass and say, well, I don't even need coffee because I am coffee, and I'll just sit here and enjoy this coffee. But you get up and do that. And that's the uniting of the two worlds. And you see, that's why a lot of people don't get it. It is yes and it is no. There is two and there's one. And I think you mentioned a very important point. The more important factor is what you alluded to, is becoming conscious and aware of your biases and your patterns and your desires and your need to get out of discomfort. Now, when you realize I am love, I am exactly where I'm meant to be, that I am, and I'm not even the one doing, even though I am seem like I'm doing. That's all the ultimate reality, right? Now, but then you get to the world of forms and world of meanings. That's what I talk about in the book, about the Sufis talking about the world of forms and the world of meanings. In the world of forms, you got a pain in your foot, you need to do something about it. You got a cancer, you need to do that. You got COVID, you need to get to the hospital. There is this whole other side of the world. And people think it's one or the other, and it's not. It's both. and the whole thesis of the book is the unification of the two worlds that we live in. We live in the ultimate reality, which is the same oneness, and there is actually nothing moving. I talk about silence, and I take you into silence in tremendous depths about the knowing of the silence, and then you come out. I won't take you where you come out, because I want you to experience the last chapter by yourself as I guide you through that. So you come out realizing you are exactly where you were meant to be, right? So a good point though, Dino. I totally agree with that. Thank you. Welcome, Oya, and anyone else that joined us. I think that's it. Oya, welcome. So, guys, any questions, any other comments you'd like to make so far about? Let's talk about the Shams Tabriz line. Shams was the teacher of Rumi. Many people know Rumi, but not many people know Shams. And a lot of the times, my journey through my clients when I'm coaching is that I am Shams, the teacher, and the client is Rumi. And then at some point, Rumi becomes Shams, and Shams becomes Rumi. And then at another point, there is no Shams and there's no Rumi, which I really love about the transition. So it's me teaching you what I know, and then you teaching me back what I thought I knew, right? Because I was just talking to Maria how coaching is more about revealing about yourself. You never come out of there going, well, I told you so. I think it's the most nourishing thing, because you look in the mirror going, don't I have the same issue, right? Have I even unpacked it in myself? Like sometimes I'll tell the client, you should do that. Then I'll go back and go, maybe you should do that too, right? So it's wonderful. I mean, I think it's very, very beautiful in that. So Shams is talking about love. Now, love is misunderstood because we have this perception about love, which is just, the whole book was originally named, what was the original name, Maria? The Untraveled Path to Love was the original name of the book, right? Which is, but there's love. It's not the love that we talk about. And Maria suggested that you use love with a capital L. And somehow I feel that both loves are entirely. So there's the human love, and then there is we could call it divine love, but then we're missing the point again. It's about unification of that. So do we listen to our hearts, or do we listen to our minds, or do we listen to both? Thoughts?
Both.
Who said both?
I did.
Okay, Denise. Yeah. Why? And how do you know which one is telling the truth?
Well, I think you got to listen to what somebody else is saying.
So that's using your mind, right?
Yeah, and then you got to listen to your heart, because they may be saying all these wonderful things, but then it doesn't feel right inside. Are they saying the truth?
But how do you know that what you're feeling inside is the right thing to do?
I think that's when you got to really feel it in your body. If it feels pain,
and even however you feel it, wherever you feel it, and you make that decision, how do you know you made the right decision?
Yeah, that's right. I don't know.
Anyone else?
I can try.
Yeah, try, Dino, please.
You when you know, right? You know that that's where you are. What you don't know is going to be the outcome of it. But I think when you
stop there. Oh, you're gone too far. You're going to give the game away.
Okay, let me put on mute.
You're going to come back to that now. But we're first at the first stage, okay? So at that first stage. No, Dino. No offense. I like where you're going with that. What?
I want to hear it.
Yeah, well, you can't. You have to wait. I want a bit more. I want a bit more pain before we give Dino the pleasure. So then, how do we know it's right? You listen to your heart, your gut, your intuition. You can listen to Moses. You can listen to the astrologers. You can listen to your pinky finger. You know, you can listen. You can call a best friend. How do you know you're making the right decision? You can apply it in the opposite side, analytics. You can put logic. You can say, right, let's put this way up, pros and cons, right or wrong. How do we know? Where does it stop? And then we say, right, that's the decision. I'm making that decision. How do you know you've made the right decision? So then, if there's no way of knowing with certainty that you've made the right decision, then how can you act?
True.
You're stuck, right? This is called yes, Anggung. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Rishads.
Am I saying your name right, by the way? Am I saying your name right?
It's Agung. Yeah.
Agung. Okay, I think I said it.
Yeah. I think when I get into a big decision making, I would like think for quiet long time, and I keep it to myself, and I tend to overanalyze my own thoughts and everything, and put it together with all my values that I've been holding all these times. And I think that's conscience playing in part when it comes to big decision making. Like when I do something wrong or something right, I think it's conscience that's playing part.
So you're saying that you use thoughts to come up with a conclusion to what?
No, I think it's not only thoughts. It has a combination between, first you come with thoughts, of course, and then you process it for a certain period of time, and until you come into your heart. I think your intuition, that's your loudest voice inside you without any external stimuli. So I think that's coming from our hearts at last.
Right. So then you decide based on the feeling in your heart. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm very I'm very much working with my intuition when it comes to making big decisions.
Okay, that's wonderful, and I very much favor that approach to the analytical approach. And Agung read the book in 2 or 3 days, which was super impressive. Maria and I met her on the group, and she's very much into music. So very, very glad to have you with us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I think I'm lucky to be in contact with you.
Me too. All of us too. So there's two things that we're talking about here. One is how do we arrive at at a decision, and then the second question is that how do we know if that decision is right or wrong, right? So now think about this. Let's take this a little further. When it comes to a small decision, is it easier or more difficult to make?
Easier, I
Obviously,
think.
easier, right? When it comes to a bigger decision, it becomes more difficult. So can we agree, the more difficult the decision, the more thinking required,
Mhm. Yeah.
and the less trust required. Think about it, right? Think about this. So if I say, okay, what are we going to have? Vegetables or fish for dinner? Now, excluding whether you're vegetarian or you have any other dietary requirements, because these days everybody's got quite a lot of dietary requirements, and it's equally, you don't know which one to choose. Now, if you had no issue with the two of them, either vegetables or fish, you'd say, oh, we'll have vegetables today. Tomorrow you'll say, ah, we'll have fish tomorrow. There wouldn't be any sort of hesitation or any doubt, right? But now you go and have the fish and the fish is off and you got sick. Now I come to you and I say to you, would you like fish or vegetables? All of a sudden, there is great despondence to lean towards fish. But I say to you, listen, that fish is wonderful. You don't have that fish, you're going to miss out. I've eaten this fish every single day in this restaurant. I've never gotten sick. Now, before you answer, think about what you feel inside of you. Chicken or fish? Chicken or beef? Chicken or fucking beef? Fish or vegetable? I always use chicken or beef. Do you take fish or vegetable? Now, watch what arises in you and what guides the decision. I'm more interested in the process rather than the choice. Did you choose fish or did you... Okay, put up your hands for who chose fish. Now put up your hands for who chose vegetables. Right, exactly. So you chose the pleasurable, safer option. But I was just talking about Shams and how I told you that you're going to get a lot more love and a lot more pleasure from choosing the fish. However, you're going to have to transcend some pain that may arise or may not arise. We have this brain, our brain has this thing called a 100% bias. 100% bias is that if there is 1% chance of something happening bad, our brains go avoid it. So if I say to you, listen, if you go walk across this park, there's lovely flowers and there's beautiful smells of roses and all the rest of it, and over 100 people have walked there, but you know, I heard in 1964 a woman was raped in that same garden. But now it's 2022 and about 10 million people have walked through there. Watch what your mind does, right? Do you want to go for that walk? Now, if I exaggerate the story a little bit more and say, you know, she was so careful, she was so diligent, she made sure she didn't bring any money, she was even old and not attractive, and she got raped. You can see, if I elaborate on the story, there's something else building up in you, right? That the question is not answered by fish or vegetables. The question is answered by, look at what is going on inside of you. Like if you stop and process that, right? So you're not going to be able to make, so even if you trust your heart, right? All of you said, right, well, I'll trust my heart. Did your heart say to eat the fish or did your heart say to eat the vegetables? Think about it. Do we know what the heart is saying, or we're calling it the heart, but we don't know what the heart is? So let's answer the second question. How do we know we've made the right decision? Say, for instance, you eat the vegetables and now you got sick from the vegetables, and the guy who ate the fish is laughing and dancing the next day while you spend the night in your hotel room because you ate vegetables. How are you going to feel then? Like an idiot, no? Then you would say, I should have eaten the damn fish. Why did I get so afraid of eating the fish? Look, I ended up getting sick anyway. So you can see what a trap you're in right there. It's checkmate. I mean, that's where I think a lot of people don't understand, is that their rational faculties are very limited. So here's the actual point, is what Dino was alluding to. you actually don't know what is the right decision. You don't. Because let's say, for instance, you got sick from eating the vegetables. Now you get better. Next time you eat fish, you never get sick again. You didn't realize it because you ate that vegetables that made you sick, that your body and your stomach went through a transformation process that made sure that you can eat as much fish as possible in the future. Yet in your mind, you'd be like, I want to eat fish or vegetables in the future. So even though you had some momentary pain from eating the vegetables, that was actually better for you. So you know how some people have a relationship and said, he shouldn't have left her. Or he should have left her. Because now we make that conclusion based on what we see later. So he left her and now he's in a worse relationship. And then we say, because our minds are so biased, you see, he was better off with that other woman. Who's to say that his growth is not going to be transformed 10 times more because his next relationship is worse than his previous relationship? Right? You don't know that. I've seen people that have been through enormous challenges. You know, like for instance, someone who's gotten sick, like, oh, you know, you see, you shouldn't have eaten so much sugar. Look what happened to you. But now that guy's become one of the most healthiest, liveliest, and happy people that I've met. And then you get other people that don't eat sugar, and they're grumpy all the time, right? You don't know. I'm not saying sugar is good for you. I'm not saying sugar is bad for you. I'm not saying any of that thing. I'm saying we don't have any damn idea on the conclusion of our choices. The more you investigate this, and by the way, I asked this to a guy who was a PhD who works in microbiology. He studied logic, right? So I studied that too. If you take logic to its finest extent, even when they come to research, is this drug, is this virus bad? Let's leave the word virus out because that's now become like an evil word, right? Should we take this decision in the company or that decision in the company? Should we fire 10,000 people or shouldn't we? So what they do is they get these people called quants, researchers, analysts. They take all the numbers and crunch them together in the most elaborate computer systems and outcomes, bam, fire them all 10,000. All based on data. And they say, we trust the science. Be careful, be careful. Because science is arriving at the end of the day. When I asked my friend, I said, so when you decide whether you should implement this particular vaccine or this particular medicine, can you be 100% sure that you've made the right decision? He says, no, we use the data and then we have to make a guess. All you're doing, as much as you analyze, whether it's your heart, your intuition, or your mind, you're taking the best guess possible. You got to remember this. If you investigate as much as I have, you'll find out that life is all guesswork. Really, really. I'm not talking surface level. I'm not talking spiritual. I'm not talking anything. Now, Dino mentioned briefly, and then I stopped him. Oh, you go ahead then, Dino. You came up with it, huh? Okay. So then, let's talk about the next step. The next step of making that decision. When you've made that decision, how do you deal with the consequence of the incorrect decision is more important than the decision. Think about it. If fish or vegetables had no negative consequences, it wouldn't bother you. But when one of them made you sick, you had to overthink and trust the science and trust the data, right? Because the data is saying, well, if I've gotten sick once before, then based on logic, I should not take it again, right? So now, the whole question that makes us doubt, which is this wonderful thing, I wrote a post this morning about that, that's why it's very much applicable. There's a wonderful thing that in the Zen tradition that says, the Zen master says to the student, if you must stand, then stand. If you must sit, then sit. But whatever you do, never wobble. Never wobble. Wobble is the in-between standing and sitting. Do I turn left? Do I turn right? Do I take fish? Do I take vegetable? What the Zen master is trying to teach you is that you have no damn idea about the outcome. The wobbling is opening up the mind. The mind is the realm of fear. Now, in a business transaction, fine. Process your analytical stuff. Get to the science. But then, when you make that decision, do not wobble. Because wobbling leads then to doubt, self-doubt. The more you delay a decision, the further the doubt creeps in. And the more difficult it is to make that decision. Having known that, you know that when you finally make that decision, and most likely because you wobbled, you will make the wrong decision. Let me repeat that. The more you wobble, the more chances you'll make the wrong decision. And go prove that in your life as well, and I'll show you to be the same thing. So, what is the crux of the matter? The crux of the matter is the inability to deal with the consequence of the negatively perceived action that I took. So, if I decide to take on this new job or not take on this new job, the more important question we've got to ask ourselves, what am I afraid of? What am I not trusting in the process of life, which is another way of saying trusting myself. When someone says, I don't trust you, they're not saying I don't trust you. They say that I don't trust me with you. When somebody says, I don't trust that guy, they're saying, I don't trust myself with that guy. But nothing to do with the guy. It's about how he feels with that guy or girl or situation or thing. So it's got nothing to do with the world. It's got to do with how you see yourself. So if there is no fear of the outcome, then there's no reason to wobble. So what Dino was saying, sitting with the fear, the discomfort. Okay, so let's say I ate fish and I get sick. Will I die? Now this is applying rational, which is flawed again, but let's say we use a bit of rationality here. If I get sick, what's the worst that can happen? I could die. Could I live with dying? You can't, because you can't live with dying because you'd be dead. Right? Mm-hmm. So you can't be living with dying. So then you could say, well, I could get sick. Now remember, the rational mind is very strong in motivating you to not do that action. So be careful trusting too much in your logic. So you say, okay, can I deal with the worst case scenario? You don't know that answer either, definitely for sure, without any doubt whatsoever. Remember that. You don't know for sure whether you can trust that situation or not. This is when the leap of faith comes in, where you say, based on what I feel, I know I'll be okay if I get sick. Now you ask yourself, do you really want the fish? Do you really want it? And then you say, I'll take the fish. And then if you get sick, you'll say, I'm okay with getting sick. Now, if you can't deal with getting sick, which is unavoidable, let me remind you, because if it wasn't the fish or vegetables today, it's going to be the coronavirus tomorrow, it's going to be you kicking your foot against the broken glass. You're not going to avoid pain or sickness or discomfort. You think you are preventing it today, but the next meal comes up and the choice is beef or chicken. Let's say you're not vegetarian. You're in another quandary. And every step that you take, if you apply this logic to it, you become more and more insecure about life and you trust life in less and less because you're relying on your rational mind, which is always flawed. Sorry, long discussion. I see Maria taking a deep breath there. Maria. So this discussion can go in all sorts of ways. My final conclusion in my particular realm has been to build up this reservoir of trust within myself. I realize I have a very small trust reservoir. I have very small ability to trust in the unknown. So what I need to do is to subject myself to more things that daunt me, more things that make me afraid. I go towards them because the rational mind is saying, stick to your job, stick to this, stick to that. The more I push myself into that pain and I come out of it going, hey, you know what? I ate the fish and here I am, even 3 days of diarrhea, I'm still here. Now, I ask myself this question, will I eat the fish again? And this is where most people would say, well, that's stupid. I would eat the fish again. I've learned through my process is to not trust my past, not to trust my conclusions. So I'll eat the fish again. And in my world, it's worked tremendously well. I'm not suggesting you do that because the rational people will come to me and say, well, you're an idiot because you just got hurt. So somebody has a bad relationship and I'll say, go back to him. So, well, that's outrageous. How can I go back to him? He didn't make me dinner every night. I said, go back to him, right? Now that would be anti-logic. So this is another world of trusting yourself. So I get my clients to constantly do things that daunt them because your mind has created a huge barrier, right? At the end of the day, whether you have 3 days of diarrhea or 2 hours of discomfort, it's not really that bad. But the more you avoid those things that you cause you discomfort, the more you doubt yourself, and the more the doubt in yourself grows. So for me, my cure has been to move towards my pain. And like Dino said, sit in your pain, sit in your discomfort. Why do you need constant happiness all the time? Right? Ronald, sorry you had your hand up. Dino, if you want to add anything, please do, because maybe it wasn't what you were going to say, but add on to that if you like. Please. I mean, you're a coach as well, so feel free. All of you feel free. Ronald, you first.
Yes, I'll speak. Just being here is discomforting for me. Being here, talking with you, listening to you, hearing things I don't fully understand is very uncomfortable, especially for a person my age, because I think that I should know this by now. But I know too that if I do remain here, I will grow and experience growth. And that's what's important to me, is that I can overcome my discomfort. But it motivates me, it inspires me, but I'm learning and growing and benefiting from it. That's all I wanted to say.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So being in things that make you uncomfortable, I can tell you, for me, has been, I can honestly say that. People say, can you explain that to me rationally? Anything that terrifies me. And I start small. I started small, but yeah, I could do pretty much anything now. Pretty much anything. In the past, there would be a lot of things. And it's not about, okay, you know what, can you, like, when you're a young boy, it'd be like, well, you can't go over there. There's a snake over there. And you're like, yeah, I can do that. It's actually the things that you're like, okay, Rishad, go on to a call and tell people about how miserable you are. Now, that is more difficult than going to see if there's a snake in the neighbor's yard, to me. Now, that you got to know your own pain points. Otherwise, you have this delusion, as many boys do. Oh, no, I'm tough. I'm strong. No, you're not. You're not. You're weak. You're weak in a weird sense. Okay, Dino,
No,
please add on.
I totally agree with everything you said. And in fact, when you said, okay, now that you had that bad experience, will you eat vegetable or fish? I went for vegetable immediately, and this is exactly the point. Being aware that we're giving so much belief to a past experience which has been concluded already.
Yes.
It's key to understand how the mind works.
Yes.
And if we identify with all the conclusions, we're never going to leave, we're never going to expand, we're never going to explore, learn anything, because once we had a number of lessons learned, we nail ourselves to the known and never go anywhere. So I totally agree that the point here is really to look at the thinking process, the thinking pattern. What happens? First reaction is, look, vegetable. Then awareness kicks in and says, okay, what's going on here? And that's the important thing. Yeah. So I totally agree with what you said.
Totally beautiful. Ronald, before you answer, the next part as well about what you do when you watch your thinking is, for me, related to you changing things up, changing the patterns up. They don't come by chance. So even if you say, oh, look at me, look what I'm doing, I'm thinking about this, rest of it, it doesn't lead to action. And for me, I do the opposite to that. So I'm like, okay, well, in the past, this is what you would have done. You would have avoided, even though I know my mind is deceiving me and all the rest of it, I would still avoid it. Now, for me, for growth, I would actually do the opposite. And the more I do the opposite, of course, you can be practical about it, right? I mean, you're saying, okay, well, you found out that there is a murderer on the streets. You can choose to stay at home. It's not in that particular severe cases. Most of them are our own self-doubt. So, for instance, some people have a major fear of putting a profile picture up. Right? I didn't do that for years. I didn't want people to know about me. I don't know why. I had a major problem with that. So for me, the first day, so I got a client of mine and I said, my task for you is you've got to put your own profile photo on your phone. That took him 3 months to do. 3 months, and he was terrified about that. It took the life out of him. And when he did it, wow. I said, was that a big deal? I don't know what I was making such a big deal about it for. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. You make a big deal out of something that you think is impossible, and then you do it, and you're like, I don't see the big deal, right? Do you know, writing a book and not writing a book, or after writing a book, right? That's thanks to Maria in many ways. Maria said, don't tell people that, your role, but you had a major pivotal role to just, because you've written books before, and that's us as coaches, right? Because we've done some things before, it does add a lot of weight. So yeah, I'm very proud of myself for getting it done. And however it's done, it's not, but it's done. Like, I mean, I can't write for shit, right? I wrote a book, I don't know how, right? So, well, that's again my perception, right? Now, Maria may argue with that and say, no, you're wrong about that. But somehow that serves me to think that way, keeps me humble, right? Keeps us grounded.
Absolutely. And I take the opportunity just to say bye-bye to everyone. I just have to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dino.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao.
We're going to end off now in 5 minutes as well. But Ronald, you wanted to say something related to what Dino was saying?
Well, this is something brief regarding decisions. I went to a restaurant with a friend of mine. I didn't know what to choose from the menu. There were too many choices, so I chose what he chose. It was a seafood restaurant, and we both got diarrhea.
Okay, well, that's related to the conversation. Next time, take the vegetables, okay? All right, guys. So I've taken up. We've gone over time. I was going to do a little meditation, but we can do that at our next call. I plan to make this regular. Every second week, we will do that. I definitely hope that I will see all your beautiful faces again in our next call. If there's any questions that you've got or comments, we'll explore all sort of topics. I mean, this call was supposed to be about finding your purpose, and that's where, I don't know, maybe you find your purpose in all of that, because if you apply the same rationale, you'll be like, how the hell am I going to find my purpose? I don't even know, which is good. Alana, oh, you're no longer in the garden, Alana. Mic is off.
Sorry, I'm actually inside. I'm with my daughter. Come say good morning. Yeah. So I've been listening. I've been listening.
Good.
Come here.
I'm glad.
Good morning.
Good. Oh, hello.
She's saying good morning. This is Eden Marie. She has been listening as well.
That's great, Eden
Yes.
Marie. I hope I made no sense at all. I don't actually make sense, so thank you for joining us. Thank you, Alana. Thank you for being here. Otto, any final comments, conclusions?
I've learned in my life that pain is a friend who teaches you something, and sometimes you have to make wrong decisions, and then you suffer, and so you learn it. So there is growth through pain. What we say now is so common said, go out of the comfort zone. There's nothing wrong. There will always be some kind of pain, but this is a master. The pain is a master who teaches you something, and this is why just add on courage. I want to say the courage to do something and not be afraid of the pain. What could happen then when I do this? Do it. Experience it, explore it, and then you will see the outcome. And when the outcome is we never know, like you say, we don't know what will happen, But then I live with the outcome, and so I learn it.
Good.
To go through, courage is with courage, not say, oh, I don't do this because, and so on. Just do it, No, I'm not talking about. Sure, sometimes we do silly things too, and we learn something, but I mean, bigger decisions, that is an inner fire. I go for that, and then I go through it, and then I take the consequences. Some are nice, and some are easier to carry, and some are heavy stuff. This is where you learn the most and where you grow. Just my 5 cents.
Thank you, Otto. Appreciate that. Anyone else like to say anything in conclusion? Maria, would you like to add anything?
No, just when we were talking about the decisions, but it came up. I just wanted to say, it's difficult when we are looking in the past or we're trying to control the future. It's very important that you live in the moment. But for me, to learn what it is to live in the moment, I just learned it recently. I didn't know. All my decisions so far have been made by looking to the future, usually, or avoiding things of the past.
Yes,
So,
yes, it's very good point. Living in the present is not understood by most people. It's only from direct experience. So I'm glad that you encountered that. It's nothing to do with what you think it is. Most people say, "Oh, be present." You have no idea what being present is about. Not you, but most people don't. Being present has got nothing to do with, okay, here we are. Okay, right. What do we do? It's nothing to do with that. It's so many different levels. I'd like to talk about that in another call as well. Yes, Alana.
Yes, Rishad, you were talking about standing, sitting, and not wobbling. There's this verse in the Bible. It's actually my favorite verse, and I would like to refer you guys to read it. It's Romans 14, and it actually talks about. Yes, you are familiar with Romans 14.
No, tell me, what is it?
Yes,
I want to hear it. You know it.
It actually talks about being vegetarian or being a meat eater, and one or the other. Yes, it applies. I was thinking about that all session, and it talks about whatever you choose. Do it with faith, because when you don't, that is where sin begins.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, good.
Yeah. Romans 14. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Is that synchronicity when you say that it was in there talking about meat and vegetables? That's beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Any last thoughts before we sign off? I'll see you guys the week after next. We will continue with other topics to explore. Sergio? Okay. Oya? Agung?
I think it's good.
Sorry?
Yeah, all is good now. I think it's it's good enough for me.
Okay, good. All right. Well, we'll leave it there, guys. Thank you for coming, and look forward to seeing you on our next call. Take care, guys.
If you want me to, Rishad.
Yeah, you can do that, Ron. We'll catch up. All right. Cheers,
Thank you
guys.
so much, Rishad. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much, Rishad.
Bye.
Really.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.